Bacteria in the food processing world can cause a lot of problems. Harmful bacteria such as Listeria, Salmonella, or E. coli can cause sickness or even death. If a company suspects its product may be contaminated, it can cost the company millions of dollars to issue a recall.
As we look at some of the companies that have had recalls in 1998 and 1999, the results to them have been absolutely devastating.
Preventing bacterial contamination is a joint effort, from maintenance to packaging. Everyone's actions can have an impact on the safety of the food produced.
Maintenance people are especially vital to the sanitation and the food safety aspect of how we position and talk about sanitation on a product contact surface.
Let's talk with some of the people in the maintenance organization to hear what they have to say about food safety. Let's start with one of the most basic GMPs, hand washing.
Food safety is, I think, is everyone's responsibility, and keep your hands clean, and keep the tools clean, and keep the area where all the food touches, keep that all nice and clean too.
How do you keep it clean?
Well, by constantly cleaning your hands and cleaning your tools and keeping a good heads-up attitude on what's really going on, I guess.
Any doctor will tell you the best way to keep from spreading the colds and flu are to wash your hands. Every doctor will tell you that. You have to listen to these people and know that they are intelligent and they know what they're talking about, and we try to do these things every day in and day out, every time.
A maintenance person should really think about, when they get a call to go to a production line in a ready-to-eat area, they should really think about where they've been, and if they've been in a Zone 4 area outside of a production room and then have to enter into a production area, they ought to think about the right footwear, the right clothing, washing their hands, and all the other rules and regulations in that plant that they need to follow in order to enter into a ready-to-eat area.
If they don't, what's the worst case scenario?
The worst case scenario is that they would directly contaminate a production line, a product contact surface, and that could end up getting into the product and then being consumed.
Proper hand washing is important for food safety, but it is equally important to make sure contamination is not spread through tools.
When you're working on the equipment, I personally use a plastic barrier in between my tools and the equipment wherever it's possible to protect the surface of the equipment from becoming contaminated.
When we go up to the line, we always wash our hands, wash our tools, put mats down wherever we lay our tools. Common sense tells us what to do most.
Cross-contamination can happen any time if you aren't careful. For instance, you may set your tools down on one surface and then move them to another. If this first surface is contaminated, well, your tools will carry along the bacteria. Now watch as we use a powder to help us see how cross-contamination can happen. Now this side has intentionally been treated with a special powder that represents bacteria. This side represents a sanitized area. To demonstrate, I'll put this tool in the contaminated area and now move it over to the sanitized area. Let's see what the impact is of doing this. Now what we couldn't see in the normal light is that this tool transferred contamination from one side to the other. A simple move just like this could be the source of contamination. Hand washing and tool sanitizing both help to prevent contamination, but sometimes bacteria can still get in. Let's take a look at a program designed specifically to address this situation. What's the purpose of orange tag, red tag, or tag out?
It's kind of a double safety. We, as mechanics, we sanitize our tools whenever we work on a ready-to-eat process. The red tag we place on the piece of equipment after we're done working on it, and that requires intervention from the production side of the process to come in and re-sanitize the equipment. Make sure that in the event that our tools or our hands or anything were contaminated when we touch that equipment, that it becomes re-sanitized.
What's the advantage of the orange tag, red tag, or tag out program?
Well, the advantage is that they know what equipment that you worked on, so they know what equipment to clean. So some equipment, if you don't tag it out, they don't know you worked on it, and they might miss it or something. This way they know exactly where to go, what was you contaminated.
Right, it really jumps out at you, the bright orange color.
Right, it really jumps out until you walk in a room and sanitation will come in and they'll see that and they say, oh, hey, we got to do something here.
Before the red tag or orange tag program, what did you do with the machine after you worked on it?
Well, usually we just worked on it, and maybe we told our foreman, you know, or talked to sanitation, we saw somebody, but that's about all we did.
So you think this is a big improvement?
This is a very big improvement.
Red tag, orange tag, tag out. The name, processes, and documentation procedures may be different, but the purpose is the same. It ensures that when production is interrupted for maintenance, equipment is cleaned and sanitized prior to restarting the line. Now, another way to improve sanitation is through equipment redesign.
The maintenance person plays a critical role in re-engineering, redesigning, and protecting a product contact surface and protecting equipment. Many times we've seen situations where we have penetrated the framework of equipment, for example, and we have allowed water to get inside a framework, and the water, again, is needed by an organism, and a hollow leg, for example, or a framework of equipment is a perfect harborage spot. So you get water, you get a food source, and you also have temperature, and you have an ideal environment for Listeria or other organisms to grow in. So the maintenance person can protect the integrity of the equipment as he does repairs. Likewise, they can also make modifications that will help minimize the amount of risk associated with harborage points or accessibility to equipment.
Years past, we would design a piece of equipment and sanitation may say, well, that's going to be hard to clean. And we would say, well, tough it out, you know, put more people on it, take more time. But now we look at things a lot differently, and we work together with those people in sanitation, and we come up with better ways to design equipment and make it more cleanable for them. In our ready-to-eat area at Newberry, we have eliminated virtually all of our gearboxes, electric motors, gearboxes, oil-filled type gearboxes with chains and sprockets and guards and that sort of thing. And we've gone to a pulley with the motor made in the pulley. It's a sealed unit. So this has eliminated the possible contamination from oils and grease and things like that, and it's made it much easier to clean, and it's just a lot more streamlined.
We tried to make changes that will both benefit the production process, the sanitation process, and as well the maintenance process.
Specially designed equipment can help reduce the risk of contamination through direct contact, but that's only part of the solution. Sometimes bacteria can be spread by airborne dust particles, particularly when there is construction at the plant.
Now we're in variety pack lines 3 and 4, our production areas over here. What we have over here is a construction area behind this wall. This is a barrier used to separate the construction zone from the production zone. You can see we are now in the construction zone. You can see the 2x4s, the plywood, anchored to the floor and to the ceiling to prevent any concrete, wood, any debris from entering the production area.
How long would you normally have a wall up like this?
This is a temporary wall, up from maybe an hour to 2 weeks at most. Just a temporary barrier.
We've just taken a look at several plants' processes to ensure food safety. Your plant's practices may be slightly different, but what's important is that everyone does their part to keep products safe. Follow those GMPs.
GMPs all the way, yeah.
It's just so important to do these GMPs and to do these GMPs every time.
We always have to remember that our family or friends or us are going to be consuming this product, so we have to do everything we know how to prevent any contamination from happening.
You have to have that discipline to make sure that every time you walk in a room, you get your hands washed. You walk through the foot bath every time. You do all these things every single time without variation. You have to do these to turn out a quality product that's wholesome for the customer.
It's critical to the business. If we're going to be the premier turkey producing plant in the country and stay in business and all have jobs, it's very critical. We have to maintain a good, wholesome product, good quality. I've got an 87-year-old grandmother, and my grandmother thinks that Kraft, Lewis Rich, Oscar Mayer products are the greatest products in the world because her grandson works there. So she buys them all. And when I think about it, I want her to have, a good product. I don't want to have to worry or have to read about her in the paper or something like that. And so it's really important to me.